Hey, how's it going? Sitting there reminiscing about my childhood. You guys remember Pogs? Those little round paper discs with pictures on them? Yeah, I had those. You'd stack them in a little pile. Then you had one that was thicker and made out of plastic or metal or something. And that was the slammer. And you'd slam it down on the stack of Pogs. And you got to keep the ones that landed with the picture facing upwards. Yeah, I had this really cool looking slammer. It was a black one. I think it was made of metal. And it had the Mortal Kombat dragon on it. Really cool. And then I was at my friend's house this one time. And he had a slammer with an elephant playing hockey on it. And he said, let's trade. I get your Mortal Kombat slammer and you get this really cool slammer with the elephant playing hockey. And I didn't really want to, but I don't know why I have such a hard time saying no to stuff. So I was like, yeah, sure, let's do that. Because he kind of convinced me that the elephant one was cooler. But now looking back, of course the Mortal Kombat one was way cooler, and I wish I still had it today. But yeah, it's gone, I guess. His mom showed me her boobs one time. I'm not sure how to feel about that.
Do you ever think back at something from your childhood and think, wait, did that actually happen? Memories are not recordings of things that happened, but rather our brains trying to recreate it, so it can be hard to trust our memories sometimes. Two people who were at the same place at the same time can tell very different stories. You might think you're getting the little details right, but it might just be your brain filling in the blanks. Memories are a little bit like cats in medieval paintings. I guess you could say that it sort of resembles the real thing, but I have quite a few memories that I'm not sure if they were dreams or if they actually happened. Kids see the world in a completely different way. They can jump to some pretty wild conclusions. I miss living in that world sometimes. Sure, we had our own problems, like if you had to get up in the middle of the night to pee, then maybe you had to jump back into bed from a pretty good distance so that the thing that lives under your bed couldn't reach out and grab your legs. And then maybe tuck the blanket underneath your feet just to be safe, but other than that, it was pretty nice. I mean, you could just roll a snowball until it was so big that you could make an armchair out of it, and then you sit there in your yard and think about whether or not your parents would actually manage to get you a remote-controlled RoboCop for Christmas, or if that was just a toy that you wish existed, so you made it up and wrote it on your list. Then you had to grow up, learn how to maintain eye contact, and eat reasonable amounts of marzipan.
Sometimes we look back at stuff from our childhood and we think, oh, I got it all wrong back then, but now I understand what actually happened. But then there are memories that are just complete mysteries. And those are the ones I'd like to talk about today.
Some of these memories are probably just stuff that I've dreamt, but this first one I'm pretty sure is real. One time, me and my family rented this little house. I can't remember where, but I remember that it had a little fish pond, and I thought that it would probably be a good idea to pee in that fish pond. But when I did, I slipped and fell in the water. But that's not the memory I was going to talk about. I don't know why I'm telling you this. I also wore a bananas in pajamas t-shirt that time. That's also irrelevant. But some of you might be interested, so I thought I'd mention it. And if you're wondering about anything else, feel free to ask me in the comment section. So, on to the actual thing. In the bedroom where I slept, there was this framed picture of a man sitting on a barrel, reading a book, or it could have been a scroll or a newspaper or something, I don't really remember.
When we turned out the lights and went to bed, I was lying there in bed and I was looking at the picture on the wall of the man reading, and he started morphing into another man. He went from an old man to a young man, from a fat man to a skinny man, and then into a pirate and so on. Just kept changing shape.
Of course, I got really scared and it took a while for me to fall asleep. And throughout my childhood, I've always wondered what the hell that was all about, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't a dream. But now when I think about it, I think it was just that the room was dark, and when you focus on something in the dark for a long time, it might look like it's moving or changing shape, and to a kid with a vivid imagination, stuff like that might seem pretty real.
That's not too scary, right? And you know I'm all about that spooky stuff. So let's move on to something scary.
If you watched my video about stuff that scared me as a kid, you'll understand why one of the greatest horrors of my childhood were Santa masks. You see, in Sweden, Santa actually comes to your house, knocks on your door, and hands out gifts to everyone on Christmas Eve. And a lot of the times, rather than just putting on a beard like a mall Santa, people here in Sweden put on these creepy looking Santa masks.
And I don't care how jolly and happy you make that mask, it's still a creepy, dead looking, dangly old rubber mask. It's always gonna look weird, and to a kid like me, who was scared of pretty much everything, it was pretty terrifying to see this guy poke his head through the door on Christmas Eve.
I remember being alone in our kitchen one time, just minding my own business, doing nothing in particular, when I heard a voice coming from somewhere in the house. It was a deep, ghost-like voice that talked to me, and it knew my name, and it said that it was the Santa mask. I was too scared to go take a look, but I remember how I imagined the mask floating in midair in the other room, talking to me without moving its lips. For the longest time, I always remembered this as something that actually happened, but when I got older, I realized that it was most likely just a dream. But it hit me while I was writing the script for this video that maybe it was just my brother who was messing with me. Because he has scared me with that damn Santa mask before, so it's not impossible that it was him, and that he just never told me about it. Or maybe it was the Santa mask. Sorry if you got scared. I promise not to put any more jump scares in this video. I don't like jump scares, I like A24. It's a cow. It's two cows. Hey cow. So, before I started making this video, I had a dream that I was writing the script for the video. Hi cow! Hello! Sorry, scared you. So before I started making this video, I had a dream that I was writing the script for this video. I hadn't even started yet in real life, but in the dream I was writing the script. And I was trying to remember all the weird memories from my childhood. And I remembered that when I was a kid, we used to go to this place in the woods and grill hot dogs. It was like a little place you could make a fire and this little shelter where you could sit. And when we'd do that, I'd go behind the shelter and play in the woods. And left arm was getting tired. And there, among the trees, there was this man dressed as Santa Claus with a Santa mask and these old, dirty clothes, and he would just stand there, completely motionless, and just look at me. And I had the feeling that he wasn't human; he was more like some kind of entity who just took the form of someone dressed as Santa Claus. And as creepy as that sounds, I wasn't really scared. I never really questioned it because I was just a kid, so I thought, this just, I guess he lives here or whatever. But yeah, then I woke up and I realized it was just a dream. But for a moment, when I remembered the dream, I wasn't sure if it was an actual memory from my childhood or if it was just a memory that I had in the dream. So I think this is the place. I don't recognize it at all because they chopped down all the trees and now they're growing back up again. And yep, this is the place. Here it is. This is looks like people are still making fires here. But yeah, this is the place where we'd have a little, like a campfire. And I guess this is the... No, this is just a tree. Yeah, this is just a tree. But this is where the shelter thing used to be, where we would sit. Then I used to go behind the shelter here and play around with sticks and stuff. And it looks completely different now because the trees were way bigger. Because as I said, they chopped them all down and now there are new trees growing up. And over there is where that creepy Santa man would stand. So yeah, even though look at these flowers. Pretty flowers. Even though it wasn't a real memory, it was just a dream I had, I thought it'd be cool to include it in the video. Because I thought it was funny that I would have that dream right before I made this video. And haven't I been here before? Doesn't this... Am I walking in circles? Is this the Blair Witch Project? No. This is not the Blair Witch Project. This is Gremlins 2, the new batch. Here we are. With the cows again. Where did they go? Cows are gone. Oh, they're over there. They're way over there. It's too bad. Okay, time for a weird one. Me and my siblings, or my entire family, I don't remember, we were going for a walk through the village where I grew up, and in the middle of the village there's this little red house with a green door, cute little Swedish house. And as I walked past the house, an old bald man came out of it, butt naked, covered from head to toe in some kind of white lotion, wiener included. And he didn't say anything, he just looked at me, walked across the lawn and disappeared into a shed. And I was the only one who saw him, and I don't remember if I told the others or if I ever told anyone at all. This is one of those things that I've always been sure actually happened, but the older I get, the more I'm starting to think that it might have been a dream, or at the very least I'm just remembering it wrong. And this was a long time ago and I was very young, so it might just have been a guy in his underwear or something, but I have this vivid image in my head of a bald naked dude covered in lotion. Who knows? Maybe he had some kind of skin problem, like a really bad sunburn. Or maybe that shed was the official clubhouse for the village swingers club. Maybe they were all covered in lotion in there. I didn't even know we had one of those. There's so much cool stuff going on around us all the time that we'll never even know about. Did you ever see the movie Swing Kids with Christian Bale? Did you know that when Christian Bale was a kid, he starred in a Swedish-Russian fantasy movie with Christopher Lee? It was based on a book by Astrid Lindgren, who also wrote Pippi Longstocking. I feel like we've gone off topic, but I also feel like this is stuff you guys should know about. But that's enough now, I guess. I have a vague memory of being at a restaurant with my parents when I was really young, and at this restaurant there was a guy playing the piano. My mom told me to look at the piano guy, and when I did, I saw that it was not a real person, but an animatronic puppet that just moved its hands up and down. And the way I remember it, he looked like The Mask, like Jim Carrey in that movie. And maybe I have seen an animatronic piano player somewhere, but I'm pretty sure that he didn't look like The Mask. And also, this might be something that I've seen on TV or in a movie, and I'm just remembering it this way. But I don't know. I guess I could ask my mom about this, but it's getting pretty late. I probably shouldn't call people at this hour.
It's getting pretty late. Makes me think of this one time when me and my friends were hanging out at my dad's place. You know what they say about my dad's place? The place is haunted, is what they say. And this is a pretty recent memory. I think I was maybe 12 or 13 years old. I shouldn't say recent, but compared to the other memories, it's pretty recent.
So we were hanging out outside of my dad's workshop where he sells tires, and it was getting late and had already gotten pretty dark. But back then we could stay up till 4, 5 in the morning and just hang out and goof around till the sun started to come back up. The grass would be all covered in dew and it would get all misty outside. Those were the days. So we were just standing there talking, having a good time. And outside of the workshop there's this big open area, because when it gets busy you'll need space for all the cars and trucks sometimes. So we could see pretty far in any direction except in the direction of the workshop. And as we were standing there talking, all of a sudden we heard a sort of squeaking sound coming toward us. It sounded like some kind of cart or stroller or something. So we all went quiet and looked around, but we couldn't see anything that would make that sound. And then we heard a woman's voice that said, "Hello?" And there was nothing sinister about the voice. It sounded pretty friendly, but as I said, we were standing in this big open area, but we couldn't see anyone anywhere, so we got scared and just started running towards my dad's house. We talked about it afterwards and we all heard the voice. I have no idea what that was. I mean, it could have been some lady with a stroller, but why would she be walking around outside my dad's workshop in the middle of the night? And why couldn't we see her? I'm kinda on the fence about ghosts. There's too much about them that doesn't make sense for me to believe in them 100%, but then there are times when ghosts seem like a pretty reasonable explanation. Oh well. I guess I kinda like not knowing everything. Maybe that's why I like Twin Peaks so much. And why I don't think we need a prequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, what would life be without the little mysteries? Or the big mysteries? Or Italian food? Can you imagine a life without Italian food? The French would get too cocky. Sure, your food is great, but is it the best? That's a matter of taste. If you can get a hold of guanciale where you live, I highly recommend that you learn how to make carbonara the proper way. No cream, no garlic, no onion, definitely no bacon, just good quality pasta, eggs, pecorino romano, black pepper, and guanciale.
Some people use pancetta instead of guanciale, but Winger?